Hello and welcome to It's Only Electric. I'm in Copenhagen at the International Media Drive of the Mercedes CLA. In this case, it's a blue CLA 250 Plus. It's an initial review, test drive, and I will compare it with the 350 because I'm going to drive that tomorrow. Welcome to It's Only Electric. Let's start.
It's only electric.
The CLA is built upon the new MMA platform. It's a hybrid or mixed platform, in this case adapted for fully electric vehicles. It measures 4.7 meters in total length with a wheelbase of 2.8. Between those wheels there is a 192 cell NMC battery pack with 85 kWh of net capacity, so probably around 90 when it comes to gross capacity. The range close to 700 kilometers, and since it's the 250 Plus, it's rear-wheel drive with a permanent magnet motor here at the rear, delivering 200 kilowatts, 270 horsepower or 325 newton meters of torque. It does 0 to 100 in 6.7 seconds with a top speed of 210 kilometers per hour. Mercedes has worked a lot with the efficiency. First off, the drag coefficient is 0.21, so it's a really slippery car, partly due to the sleek front here, closed grille, round shapes with a headlight unit and a daylight running light crossing the whole front area. This star shapes or star pattern grille with a hidden frontal facing camera in the middle of the big star at the front. Parking sensors, of course, active aero intakes hidden here underneath, also to increase the efficiency. As you see here, also active vents or airflow directors into the wheel arches, and very small and slim side view mirrors, also to reduce the drag. The AMG wheels with closed caps almost closes the whole area of the wheels. Staggered setup, so 18-inch wheels, 235s at the front, 255s at the rear, since it's rear-wheel drive. A very Mercedes-esque multi-beam LED headlight unit with the star shape here, so the daylight running lights and the signaling lights is actually combined inside this star shape. Underneath the hood there is actually some storage, so there's a frunk here, and one more time. Yes, 101 liters actually, so that's good. This is actually like Tesla style frunk with a really practical aspect to it. I'm really glad to see this because as an EV driver, this extra storage really helps out. It has the charge port here at the right rear fender with a charge capacity of up to 320 kilowatts for DC charging, fast charging, 800 volt system with no support for 400 volt, which means that you can't charge it at a regular Tesla supercharger station. You need to find 800 volt systems. 10 to 80% takes 22 minutes. And when it comes to home charging, AC charging, 11 kilowatts, 3-phase support. Moving over to the rear design, very sleek and sloping coupe shape here. And you see that this is a CLA. I mean, the design is really CLA-ish. The taillights connected by a light bar in the middle. The opener of the boot is hidden inside or underneath the logo. So you press that one, powered liftgate. When it comes to storage, 405 liters of total storage capacity here at the rear, and on top of that, as I showed you, 101 liters at the front. So all in all, 506 liters of storage. You also have a small amount of storage here underneath. Maybe you have the possibilities to stow away a charge cable. Split seats, so foldable in 3 parts, 40, 20, 40. This is a really great aspect because you can fold the midsection and still have 2 passengers at the rear whilst loading longer things. Let's have a look at the back seat. Front seat adjusted after my driver position. I'm 193 centimeters tall or 6'4". Contrast setup, so The white leatherette goes very well together with this black Alcantara or Nubuck feel fabrics. Lifts the cabin, looks a bit more sporty and a bit more lively compared to a one-tone setup. And when it comes to space and comfort, this backseat is more or less suitable for 2 persons. It's not really a setup for 3 people here at the rear. I mean, it's narrow, the car is not that wide, and the central spot is a bit uplifted, so not perfectly suitable for a third person. And when it comes to legroom, as you see, I'm touching the front seat. I mean, that's expected because this is a CLA. It's not an E-Class or S-Class. This is a small car. And my feet it's a bit hard to squeeze them underneath the frontal seat because it's in the lowest position. So probably a bit unfair, but you still get the point with that. And when it comes to headroom, I'm actually touching this rear part of the headliner where the panoramic glass roof actually ends. Otherwise, I'm slightly touching the glass when sitting really straight up. Individual headrests here at the back and adjustable height-wise and well cushioned, I must say, so good comfort when it comes to headrests. Thigh support is a bit lacking. The bench is really low, but that goes for most EVs. This might be a bit to the lower side compared to other alternatives. Overall, material, touch and feel is good. I mean, for this size class, again, there is not much hard plastics. Soft touch at the top, stitching, leatherette, this white details, it's cushioned. It's equipped with a Burmeister sound system, so that's also extra. Otherwise, good materials, good look and feel to the interior materials, even here at the back seat. Convenient features like 2 manual air ventilations, 1 for each rear passenger. Underneath that, 2 USB-C ports, some storage nets, storage cables and phones. So inside the CLA 250 Plus is the rear-wheel drive version, as I just mentioned. 270 horsepower, 325 newton-meters of torque, 200 kilowatts. So permanent magnet motor at the rear only. Consumption, I've been driving for a while, 13.8 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers. That's after driving for 1 hour in slow traffic, but this is a efficient car and they have worked a lot with the efficiency. One thing is the very small side view mirrors. They are extremely small for such a normal sized car. Of course, they also worked with the heat pump system, so they have a new type of heat pump working with air only to make the car more efficient. It also has an extremely low drag coefficient at 0.21, so that's even lower than the Tesla Model 3, and that also gives us higher efficiency and longer range. So this is really a comparable car with the Model 3 when it comes to efficiency, and probably even more when it comes to range. It will beat the Model 3 because it has a bigger battery pack and the efficiency seems to be just below the Model 3 actually. When it comes to the interior, there is, I mean, it's good, but it is like the other lineup from Mercedes. They are using a lot of plastics. Some parts a bit too plasticky and a bit too piano black finish, tends to get scratched, of course. And the screen layout, we have a 10.2-inch instrument cluster and a 14-inch central media screen, touchscreen, running on the new MB.OS system. So that's the new software from now on all upcoming Mercedes cars. And I mean, I have played around with it a bit and seems to be a good system. Nice navigation views, and it's companioned by the head-up display, so a good driver experience when it comes to the screens, the layout, and the software as such. I haven't experienced any, I mean, I haven't played around with it that much, but it seems to be fluent, it doesn't lag, and the functions is pretty easy to get used to and to find. The big flat surface at the passenger side to the right, if you don't want to stare into like 50 different stars, you can equip the car with an extra passenger screen, entertainment screen, because it looks a bit flat like that now. It's a very big empty surface. To be honest, I have been driving a lot of cars with 3 screens, and the passengers never seems to like engage with the screen anyway, so I really don't know if it's really necessary. When it comes to the driver position, let's start with the steering wheel. To the left we have, as usual, the Mercedes steering wheel. We have the driver assist functions, like the speed limit assist, the driver assist as such. To the right we have media controls and instrument cluster controls. A bit of a fiddly feel to the touch buttons, but you get used to it. But it takes time. In front of the steering wheel we have 2 stalks. To the right we have the stalk as usual for the drive mode selector, but you also have the region incorporated to that one. So you have a couple of different region modes. You have no recalibration, then it just coasts. You have intelligent recap, which as usual works as it adapts to the circumstances, so it brakes for you if you have cars in front of you, and it coasts if it's clear on highways, etc., to save energy. If you pull it towards you, you have something called normal recuperation. That one is fairly weak as a recap option, and it doesn't come to a full stop, so it's not one pedal driving. If you pull it once more, the last step, you get strong recap, and that's the one pedal driving mode. It's strong. It will get the passengers nausy if you use it, too much, and if you don't think of it when you're removing your right foot from the pedal. It's fairly strong, and it comes to a full stop, so it's a fully functional one pedal driving, which I always like. I try to drive all my cars on strong recap because I think that's the best way of getting used to drive EVs. When it comes to the drive modes, there is a control panel here just underneath the central screen with some hardware buttons, touch, and most further to the left you have the dynamic select. That's the drive mode selector. You can activate the camera view, turn off the screen, hazard lights, microphone activation and deactivation, volume controls. That's what you have in that compartment. And drive modes, if you press that, you have a toggler, so comfort, sport, eco, and individual. And if we have a look at the individual, you can set the driving dynamics. You have eco, comfort, and sport, and then the steering, normal, sport, or comfort and sport, and ESP. So that's the settings you have to play around with. But the biggest difference is, of course, the acceleration. So in eco mode, you get the sluggiest version. It's a bit late to respond on the accelerator, so you really need to force it and to press it all the way to get full acceleration, and it builds up the power slower than in comfort, and especially than in sport. So it feels a bit weak when driving it on eco, and that's of course the point with having the eco mode, to preserve a lot of energy. Let's say in sport, 270 HP. It doesn't feel super quick. It is not a slow car. It's all fine for this car class, of course. So if you are into a rear-wheel drive car, this can really be an option for you. If you want some more power, I would probably go for the 350 with all-wheel drive and 354 horsepower instead. This one weighs 2 tons flat as a curb weight, whilst the 350 weighs 2,150 kilograms, so the difference is 150 k. So still fairly light cars, I would say, for being electric. Underneath the screen and in front of this control panel, you have this midsection with 2 adaptive cup holders. You have kind of a function here to increase the adaptiveness if you have a very small coffee cup. And there's a bit of a plastic material here and storage underneath it. I think you have USB-C ports. Yeah, you have ports here underneath, connecting your devices. And of course a cushioned armrest with storage, and the cushioning on the door panel is also good, so a fairly good driver position. A bit of a small car for me, but I mean, it's a CLA, so didn't expect anything else. And when it comes to the seat, this is the AMG line seats, so they are a bit sportier and gives you fairly good support. They are bolstered and supportive at the back. The seat position is also equipped with side bolsters, but they are a bit less and not that supportive compared to the back. Good thing you have extendable thigh support, even if it's manual, it's good, and the angle that you can achieve is really steep. So for me, that's 6'4" or 193 centimeters tall. This is actually a good driving position, and I like the seats. So probably a good option to go for the AMG line seats, because they are nice. The suspension, it's passive suspension, so passive dampers, regular springs, but feels to be, I mean, fairly nicely tuned, because it rides very well. It's really smooth, but also the roads here in Denmark are a lot smoother than the roads back in Sweden. The asphalt we have is not as fine as this one, so the car is a lot more silent here than back home, but still feels to be and seems to be a silent cabin and a smooth ride. And the suspension on this version is well balanced. I mean, I haven't done any off-roading or something like that, but it seems to be nicely tuned for the CLAs as such. So now on some gravel and uneven surfaces, it's still behaving good. There is no miss zones, no clunks. Let me put it into sport. The torque is on the highest level now, so sport. So the steering is still not as sporty, but it is direct and feels to be precise. And I like the suspension because it doesn't feel too leaning, doesn't have that much of a body roll. I haven't pressed it too much because there is really heavy traffic regulations here in Denmark. You get fined quickly, and it costs you a lot to drive too fast. So now in the CLA 350 4MATIC, so all-wheel drive, dual motor setup, 2 permanent magnet motors, delivering in total 354 horsepower and just above 500 Newton meters of torque. And compared to the 250 Plus, it does 0 to 100 in 4.9 seconds instead of 6.7. Top speed still 210 kilometers per hour. So it's a bit quicker, 0 to 100. You feel that it is a bit nippier, of course, but to be honest, the difference does not feel that big. It's most at the start, of course, but after like 1890, it feels very similar to the 250 Plus. And my friend here is trying to play Angry Birds at the same time, because this specific car has the extra passenger screen. It's also a 14-inch screen, so very big, actually a nice screen. And when I look at it too much as a driver, it will shut down. So let's see if that works. So now I'm looking at the screen. He's playing Angry Birds. I don't know, it just doesn't work. It did work for you. So usually it turns off and gives you kind of a warning message and blacks out the screen. So it doesn't have any prismatic function. I can still see the screen all the time. So can get a bit distractive if the screen doesn't turn off. All those functions are carried out by the camera and the IR cameras on top in the bezels of the central media screen. You also have a light sensor there. So all the sensors are on top of the central media screen. There is no dash cam in the rear view mirror. It sits on top of the screen instead. So efficiency-wise, as I said in the earlier car, the 250 Plus, Mercedes has really worked hard to get the efficiency right on the CLA in general. I mentioned the smaller side view mirrors, the design of the wheels, all optimized for lower consumption, but also, of course, the aerodynamic exterior shape of the car, the low CV value. For this all-wheel drive version, the decoupling of the front motor. So it decouples, detaches the front motor when you don't need it, and that's probably like 90% of the times. So that's why the efficiency is so high on the 4MATIC version 2, because the actual difference is only 20 kilometers in total WLTP range. So instead of having 790, it has around 770 kilometers of range, and that's really impressive, despite having a fairly big battery pack of 85 kilowatt hours. You need to turn off the speed limit warning. You do that by just pressing an icon on the screen. You can also do that in the settings, of course, but the decoupling of the front motor is, I think it's called DCU, and it's kind of a next generation compared to the EQE SUV, because that system also exists in that car, but this is a more efficient version of that. And the next thing to make the car even more efficient is to add a second gear. So the CLAs comes with 2 gears, which means that it switches to the second gear when you pass 110 kilometers per hour. And it's a really smooth switching. If you don't really floor it and driving sport mode, you most of the times won't feel that actual gear change. If you press it and accelerate a bit harder, you will feel it, but it's still a smooth transition. So that second gear in above 110 kilometers per hour is to preserve energy in higher speeds. It's more or less like optimized for highway driving and like autobahn driving. So I guess in speeds about 110, 120, 130, it will be a lot more efficient than many other cars. 2 more aspects of efficiency work is the weight of the car. As I mentioned, the 250 Plus weighs just about 2 tons. That's the curb weight. And the 350 4MATIC weighs 135 kilograms more. So 2,135 kilograms curb weight. Still not that heavy. So light cars for being EVs and carrying around such a big battery pack. And the final step to work with efficiency is software-wise. The route planner takes a lot of new factors, data into account, like weather conditions, if you have tailwind or not, if it's raining, wet roads, temperatures, cold, warm, etc. All that is calculated within the route planning system built into the central screen. Helps you to like reach the right type of chargers at the right time. So it gives you a better planning for longer trips. I also heard that Mercedes have developed their own charging stations. And nice news is that you can actually, as a Mercedes owner connected to that network, pre-book or reserve a charge spot 15 minutes in advance. So the car can reserve that for you, so you don't need to stop in a charge queue, which means that you can plan better and reach your destination quicker. So that's a convenient way of doing it. Those charges will be open for all EVs, but of course with a Mercedes you will get lower prices, but also this queue functionality or reservation functionality. That's a clever way of like locking in your users and giving them some extra service. So both cars we have tested today does have the Burmeister premium sound system. So it's a 16 speaker setup, Dolby Atmos, 850 watts of total output. And since the cabin is small, it sounds incredibly good. I mean, really crisp and detailed sound image. It has good lows, mids, and highs, so all the aspects of the tones are good. I mean, one of the better sound systems in a smaller car I have tried out. And it works for most music we have tested out, and impressive sound. If it's not too expensive, think it's worth going for the premium sound system. If music is important for you, this is a really good addition. Let's test the driver aid systems, drive assist, by pressing the rest button here on the left side and setting the speed. It's set to 70 now. I set it to the speed limit 80. And it's said to be more collaborative than other systems, which means that it more or less adapts to you in a more natural way. So for instance, a lot of car manufacturers or cars set to drive assist active deactivates drive assist, or like forces you to stay in a exact line. So for instance, now when I touch the steering wheel, some systems tries to hold you back or deactivate the self-driving system. In this case, it does not. So I can play with the steering wheel a bit, align the car to the place I want it, and engage as a driver, but still the system is active. So it doesn't deactivate. And I must say that it gets a lot smoother. It doesn't get as wobbly as it can get in some cars that are a bit too aggressive. So instead of feeling aggressive, it feels more collaborative, and that's probably why they call it that. It feels more natural, more like support than a system that tells you what to do. I don't know how often it wants you to hold the steering wheel, but if I let go it now and see when it starts beeping, adjust the distance. Now it shows me on the head-up display, hold the steering wheel. You think it will come to a full stop? Maybe. I have a car behind me, so. But it is really smooth and really helpful. So that was my driving experience of the 350. And yesterday, the 250 Plus. When it comes to the price, this one cost 60,000 euros or 670,000 Swedish crowns. That's the starting price of the 350 4MATIC. The 250 Plus starts at 633,000 Swedish crowns or 56,000 euros. So that's what we're looking at when it comes to the price. So the CLA may be Mercedes' most important release in a while now, and this can be, together with BMW's Neue Klasse, the turning point that actually turns the tides for the German car industry, converting customers to EVs. And I think the CLA really delivers on the most important points. I mean, first off, it's very silent and smooth. The ride is really nice. It's a perfect highway car. And on top of that, you have amazing efficiency, great range, close to 800 kilometers. That's super good, and good charging. I mean, 800 volt, over 300 kilowatts, 220 to be more exact, 22 minutes, 10 to 80%. I mean, it's good in all those aspects, and it's good at what EVs really needs to be good at. But it has some downsides. One of them is the other part of the charging, that it doesn't support 400 volt chargers. I mean, I'm all for 800 volt, but I still think 400 volt is something that's good to have, at least for the next coming 3, 4 or 5 years. After that, I guess most of the chargers will still be 800 volts or above. Another downside for me that's tall is the narrowness in the front. I mean, the car is not that wide, and you feel that in the front. And what I wish is that the mid console in between the two front seats could have been a bit more narrow, because it's so wide, it takes up so much space that really limits the amount of legroom. So sidewise, you will always touch the door, but also the center console. So a more narrow center console would make really sense, because it's almost as wide as in bigger cars like the EQE, etc. So that's a bit sad to see. They could have saved a lot of space for taller people like me. Otherwise, the sitting position, the comfort, etc. is really great. This is really a car that I could recommend, especially for people like that want to do a very convenient step into EVs. This may be a perfect choice. I mean, with all the aspects of it and the close heritage to the normal CLA, the looks of it is really close to the old CLA too. You really see that, okay, it's built upon the same car, the same concept, and you will really feel at home if you're used to Mercedes cars. And that's of course a good thing. And I think that's all for today. I hope you enjoyed this video and that I could give you some extra information about the CLA and share my thoughts about it. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and most importantly, engage. I mean, write comments, ask me questions, share your thoughts about the CLA. And stay electric. Thank you for watching. Speak to you soon.